Well, it seems satire has also become a sin in the world of woke social media, but Conservatives are clawing back control in the campaign for common sense. One such person leading the fight against his lefty lunacy is our next guest. You've met him before, the managing editor of the parody site The Babylon Bee, Joel Berry. Great to see you again, Joel. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
So, Joel, talk us through the last few weeks. Basically, Elon Musk has bought Twitter, but it was you guys who triggered Elon Musk into one of the biggest moves for free speech in decades. Tell us about it.
Well, we told a joke that the powers that be at Twitter didn't like. What happened was our America's assistant HHS secretary, Rachel Levine, is a man who identifies as a woman, and one of our newspapers here named him as one of their Women of the Year. And so we responded by making him the Babylon Bee's Man of the Year. And Twitter hit us with a strike for hate speech. Essentially, they suspended our account, and they will not allow us back onto Twitter unless we delete the tweet, and then we also have to sign a box acknowledging that we engaged in hate speech. And so Elon he's kind of a fan of the Babylon Bee, and I guess that was a bit too much for him. I don't know if that's what triggered it, but it's been a crazy 4 weeks, that's for sure.
Well, you're still banned from Twitter, so you're still not back on the platform, even with the news that Elon will be soon the full owner. But he called and spoke to Babylon Bee's CEO before he made his move. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I'm not privy to exactly what they talked about in that conversation. And again, I don't know what all went into Elon's thought process and what led up to his decision. I imagine it was a whole number of things. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of this has been building up for a long time. I think what we've seen happen with Twitter is it started to look kind of like a de facto arm of the government. And what the government was doing was, since the United States government can't silence political opposition because of our Constitution, they were more than happy to do it through this third party, through social media, through big tech, which was ideologically aligned with them, and more than happy to silence their political opposition. And so I think reasonable people like Musk and others started to see how dangerous that is, and thankfully opted to do something about that. So we're very thankful. We're hopeful, for the future that we'll see a freer Twitter and a more robust discourse in the public square here in the coming years.
James.
And Joel, I'm glad you said there that the government can't silence, but we had seen Twitter become essentially this narrative machine that was this echo chamber for the left to both develop narratives and enforce conformity for their narratives. Right. And on that point of silencing, I thought this was almost out of the Babylon Bee itself when I saw that the Biden administration was going to start its own Ministry of Misinformation or Ministry of Truth or whatever as part of all things the Department of Homeland Security. Can you walk us through just how insane this actually is?
Oh my gosh. Well, for one, it is a gift to the Babylon Bee because it is so hilarious. The joke just writes itself there. I mean, George Orwell did give us the Ministry of Truth in 1984, but I think he would kick himself for not thinking of something as hilariously ominous as the Disinformation Governance Board. I mean, that's what a title.
Yeah.
And the person that they've named to head this board, some of the things that she's said have been pretty incredible. She parroted her own disinformation when Hunter Biden's laptop became a story, and the New York Post was kicked off of Twitter for that story. She parroted the disinformation that laptop was Russian disinformation, which was itself disinformation. Mm-hmm. She just recently she gave a talk about what she calls malign creativity, and what malign creativity is that's her euphemism for memes. She talks about how we need to start going after memes and fact checking them. The government has to do something about memes. So it really is it's hilarious. It would be terrifying if it wasn't so hilarious.
Malign creativity is the death of humour, it's the death of satire, it's the death of sarcasm, it's the death of wit, it's the death of everything that has allowed our democracies to flourish, our Western democracies to flourish, as opposed to the authoritarian regimes of Eastern Europe, China, the Islamic world. Going after creativity is the absolute essence of the evils of communism, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, you ask anyone who lived through the rise and fall of the Soviet Union, they'll tell you that comedy was kind of the last thing to die. That was the last stand of truth after the newspapers and the institutions and the universities were gone. Comedians were the only ones left telling the truth. And when the authorities start coming after the comedians, that's when you're in trouble. So, not just the Babylon Bee, but anyone out there speaking the truth and using wit and humor to do so, we need to protect that at all costs.
But it's not just the government coming for the comics. We're now seeing attacks against comedians on stage. Dave Chappelle just a few days ago was attacked on stage. There's people attempting to cancel them and destroy their careers and livelihoods. Is the Babylon Bee kind of insulated from that? Are you guys unable to be cancelled? I mean, what's the word for that? Uncancelable.
Uncancelable. Yeah. No one is.
Well, we're. I guess there's a good reason we don't have a live stage show like Dave Chappelle does. We really respect comedians that. And we don't put our names to our articles. We don't expose who our writers are. So we are, in a sense, we are uncancelable in that sense. But we have a lot of admiration for stand-up comedians who put themselves out there before an audience, who deal with hecklers and national controversies. It's a whole other level of comedy beyond what we do and just writing it. And so we're going to keep doing what we do, and we hope that the stand-up comedians keep doing what they do.
Fantastic. Joel Berry, well, here's the deal, mate. We'll get some wily promoter out there to do a Babylon Bee / Outsiders live on stage tour, and it would be a sellout, I can guarantee you that.
We'll all wear our Kevlar helmets, too.
Thanks so much, and well done. I think you're very humble. I think the role that you played, you guys, in getting Elon Musk is much larger than you let on. I think he realised the threat to democracy once they come after people like the Babylon Bee. Joel Berry, thanks so much for chatting to us, and we'll chat again soon. Thank you.